Good morning students. The topic which today I am going to discuss is round off. You have done this topic in previous grade. You have done the topic round off with proper rule. Now I am not going to discuss the proper rule. In grade 6 you will be rounding off the number and writing it within a line. You are not supposed to round off the number using the proper rule. Before I move to question, I want to explain the concept. What is rounding off? Let's say this. I am going to explain this topic with the help of an example. Let's say we move to market, we buy something, and whatever we buy, the sum total, let's say, will become equal to 1231. Now instead of paying 1231, I used to pay, or I asked the shopkeeper to receive 1230 instead of 1231. Now here the concept of round off works. Now if you see, if I talk about the place, this place is ones, and you all know round off is always considered for the digit which is nearest to it. The digit nearest to ones is tens. So it means in this example I am rounding off the number to nearest tens. We can also round off the number to nearest 100 also. Let's move to another example. Let's say I move to a shop. Let's say I am moving to a jewelry shop. I have purchased some jewelry and the total of the bill amounts to, let's say, 52,130 rupees. Now instead of paying 52,130, if I pay 52,100, that means it will be the amount which is nearest hundreds. Again, the concept of round off works here. Now moving to exercise 1.3, question number 1. I have written sum number 1. Estimate using general rule. First of all, it is important to know round off and estimate both are synonym to each other. Now, before I move to the question, you people must know what is general rule and how to estimate using general rule. General rule says that a number should be round off to its greatest possible digit. Whatever be the greatest possible digit, I have to round off a number to that. Let's say, moving to sum number 1, 730. Now it's ones, tens, hundred. The greatest maximum possible place is hundreds, so I'll round off 730 to nearest hundreds. Again, moving to 998, using general rule, I'll round off it to nearest ones, tens, hundreds. So the maximum place is hundreds, so I'll round off this number to nearest hundreds. Let me start. Instead of writing complete rule, you have to write directly round off 730 to nearest hundreds is equals to 700. It is important to write hundreds because we are writing place value. Round off 998 to nearest hundreds. Now if I round off 998 to nearest hundreds, 998 is nearer to, lies between 900 and 1000. Now if I say I have to find out a number which is nearer to 998, now if I look to 900 and 1000, 1000 is nearer to 998, so it will be written as 1000. Now I have to add these, so I'll write sum is equals to 700 plus 1000, which is equals to 1700. That will be my answer of A part. Now moving to C part. Again using general rule, I have to check the place of the number given to me: ones, tens, hundreds, thousand, 10,000. Now the place is 10,000, so I have to check 28,292. I have to find out basically two numbers according to 10,000's place, in which 28,292 lies between. So the numbers are 20,000 and 30,000. Now 28,292 lies between 20,000 and 30,000. I have to check the number by which 28,292 is nearer. So if I see 28,000 is nearer to 30,000, so if I round off 28,292 to nearest 10,000s, it will be written as 30,000. Similarly, if I move to 21,496, it is again, it lies between 20,000 and 30,000, but 21,000, it is nearer to 20,000. So I'll take here 30,000 and here I'll take 20,000. Now writing the complete statements, it will be written as round off, it will be OFF 28,292 to nearest 10,000s. Again, it is important to write S is equals to 30,000. Similarly, round off 21,496 to nearest 10,000s is equals to 20,000. Now I have to subtract these numbers. So for subtraction, I'll find the difference, and the difference is 30,000 minus 20,000. This is equals to 10,000, which is the final answer. Before I discuss question number 2, I want to discuss question number 3 with you, because this question is as same as question number 1. The concept here is as same. We have to find out the product now of two numbers using general rule. So as I have discussed, you all know now what is general rule. Let's check the place: ones, tens, hundreds. 578, the maximum place is hundreds. So if I talk about 578, it lies between 500 and 600. Now 578, it is nearest to 600. So I will take here number 600, and if I talk about 161, it lies between, if I talk about hundreds place, it lies between 100 and 200. Now let's check 161, it is nearer to 200. So I am taking these two numbers, 600 and 200. Let's start with it. So it will be written as round off 578 to nearest hundreds is equals to 600 round off 161 to nearest hundreds is equals to 200. Now we have to multiply. That means we have to find out the product. So I write the statement product is equals to 600 into 200. When I multiply it, I get 4 zeros along with 12. So it will be 1,20,000. That will be the answer. Now moving to C part. Again using same rule. Ones, tens, 100,000. If I check the place, the maximum place is thousands. So 1,291 lies between 1,000 and it is nearest to 1,000. Similarly, if I talk about 592, 592 lies between 500 and 600 and it is nearer to 600. So I am taking these two numbers, 1,000 and 600. Now you can write the statements. Round off 1,291 to nearest thousands is 1,000. Second line, round off 592 to nearest hundreds is 600, and then you will multiply these two numbers to find the product. That will be the final answer. Moving to question number 2. The question is, give a rough estimate to nearest hundreds by rounding off it to nearest hundreds and a closer estimate by rounding off it to nearest tens. Before I move to the statements, I want to explain that this question has practical significance and I am going to explain this question with the help of an example. The example I have taken, let's say I go to market, I have bought two things. The price of the two things are respectively rupee 348 and rupee 423. Now if I add up, the total amount is 771. That means if I buy two commodities of this much amount, I have to pay 771 to the shopkeeper. Now there are two aspects. One is nearest 100. Now in my mind, definitely it is coming when I buy these two things, that what amount I have to pay or what will be the total amount. So for that, definitely in my mind I am rounding off these two numbers. If I round off these two numbers to nearest hundreds, it will be rupee 348. If I round off to nearest hundreds, it will be equal to 300, and if I round off 423 to nearest hundreds, it will be rupee 400. That means in my mind I am calculating that at almost I have to pay 700, or my total will be nearer to 700. If I round off to nearest tens, 348 will be round off to nearest tens as 350 and 423 will be round off as 420. Now if I add these two, I will get 770. Now these are the calculations which are in my mind. So if I talk about a rough estimate and closer estimate, now I am going to explain it. This is the final amount which I have to pay to the shopkeeper. A rough estimate in my mind is going on that almost 700 rupee I have to pay. And if I talk about closer estimate means I am finding a value which is closer to the actual amount. So for closer estimate, definitely I am rounding off the number to nearest tens. And if you see, after rounding off the number to nearest tens, definitely I am getting my number which is closer. Definitely I get a number which is actually closer to the final amount. Now I hope the concept is clear to you. Moving to the examples. Now in this question, I have taken B part of question number 2. The numbers are 1,08,734. I have to subtract 47,599 from it. I am not going to use general rule here because the requirement of the question is rough estimate and closer estimate. So for rough estimate, I am rounding off it to nearest 100. So basically this question is divided into two parts. Firstly, I have to round off these two numbers to nearest hundreds, then to round off these two numbers to nearest tens. So let's starting with the rough estimate and write the statement: round off 1,08,734 to nearest hundreds is now 1,08,734. If I see 700 is the number, this number is closer to 734 is closer to, it lies between 700 and 800, and 734 is closer to 700. So I am taking this number. Now moving to another number, round off 47,599 to nearest hundreds. Now 47,599 lies between, if I talk about hundreds, it lies between 47,500 and 47,600. Now we all know 47,599 is closer to 47,600. So I am taking these two numbers. Now the requirement of the question is I have to subtract. Now in the next step I will find the difference by subtracting these two numbers. So after subtracting, I'll get the rough estimate of these two numbers. Now moving to closer estimate. For closer estimate, I have to round off the number to nearest tens. So round off 1,08,734 to nearest tens is, now it is 34. 34 is nearer to lies between 30 or 40 and it is nearer to 30. So it will be written as 1,08,730. If I round off 47,599 to nearest tens, it will be written as, now 99, it lies between 90 and 100. So definitely 99 is closer to 100. So it will be written as 47,600. Now again, I have to find out the difference. So the difference will be find by subtracting these two numbers. After you will get the difference will be considered as the closer estimate. Thank you.